Hi, my name is Andre and welcome at Your Guitar Workshop. In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at the Lady Madonna section in the Day Tripper Medley by Tommy Emmanuel. We're going to go over the bass line, first chorus, and then possibly second verse, second chorus as well. And then the rest, so the outro section and some variations we're going to leave for next week's tutorial, where I'm going to be wrapping up this complete tutorial. In case you missed the first two videos, so in the first two videos I covered that insane intro and the Day Tripper section, then make sure to check the links in the description. Also, if you need, the tablature is available on my Patreon page. And if you have a liking to sort of fingerstyle tutorials a la Tommy Emmanuel or Matteo Zassato, also if you enjoy the electric guitar, I haven't done much electric guitar in the last, last 6 months or so, but that's coming back to the channel. Make sure to subscribe, comment if there's anything you want to ask or whatever, and let's get started on this tutorial. Here we go. All right, so what do you do? So you start off with just sort of playing an A major chord, and it starts on the fore end of the previous bar. So this is sort of a pickup that you play. Then you start with the following bass line. Right, so you play open A, third position to fourth position, so middle finger, ring finger. Then you play part of a D7 chord, right? So that's pointer finger first of B, middle finger second of G, and open D. Play that D string once more, and ring finger slides from third to fourth on that D string, right? So, and then you finish off with pointer finger second of G, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Right? Then in the next bar, you basically have a repeat of the first bar, with the exception that you have a bass note on the first beat as well. So you have. Then you get another repeat of that. But then here, instead of playing that D7, you play a D7 sus4. So that's open D and G, and then point a finger in first of that B string. You play them together, then play that bass note, and then middle finger second position of D, make a pull off, and then you play an F chord a la Tommy Emmanuel, which means having your thumb on the low E string. Then in the fourth bar, you play the following thing, but I'll play that F at the end of the last bar because that's sort of part of it. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so what do you do? So we already covered the F part. So then on the one end of the next bar, you play a G chord. That's just with your ring finger on third of E, middle finger third of the other E. And then you play the A chord twice, right? And then what you do is sort of you slap the strings on the neck of the guitar. I think he does it more close to the 12th position, but I can't because I have my mic here, so like that. But you want that slap sound on your strings as well, right? And then you make a hammer on with your middle finger in third position of that E string, and then you play that A chord again, like that, right? So you get 3, 4, and then this is on the fore end, and it's the start of the next series of 4 bars. All right, so those 4 bars together, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now for the second set of 4 bars, I'll play it for you, and then we'll get into how to play that on the guitar. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so what do you do? The first bar is exactly the same as what you play in the first bar of the last set of 4. So Then you again play that open A string, 3, 4, and then it's not 100% clear to me, but I believe he plays open D, G, B, and E string, and makes a quick hammer-on with his middle finger and pointer finger, middle finger in second of G, and pointer finger in first of B. So, but it's super quick, and it's kind of hard to hear. Then you just continue with that bass line. So open D, slide from 3 to 4, and then playing that second position of G, right? So you get... Then you get this part. So the thing is that you play that A string again. So A, C, C sharp, and then that D sus7 sus4, open D, open A, then that F chord, G chord, and then you get this riff. So what do you play there? So I believe that is a slide with your pointer finger from second position of A, sort of, to fifth, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's sort of more of an effect than it really has a significant meaning. And then with your pinky, you fret eighth position of B and E, then pointer finger frets B and E in fifth, then ring finger frets B and G in eighth, and then you slide with your ring finger from 8th to 7th. So, right, so you get... Then you make a pull off to 5th on that G string, play ring finger 7th of D, and make a pull off to 5th here. So we get... So those 4 bars together, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so there's one last thing that you have to do to sort of complete this bass line section, and that is placing a slap, right, on the guitar, sort of on the 2 and the 4. And it's tricky because many times that slap, at the same time, you're playing a bass note there. So for instance, you get that. So when you're playing that third position of A, that's also a slap. So you get, and then you get, right? So when you play that third on D, that's also a slap play. So you get, and then in that third bar, it's when you play that second position of the D string, and then you get, the next part is going to be the verse. I'll play it for you, the first 4 bars, and then we'll get into how to play that on the guitar. Here we go. The first thing that you do is you play pointer finger first of B, and you play A, B, and G, or A, G, and B together, right? So you do that again with pointer finger in second. Then middle finger plays bass note, so the C third position of A. And then you play pinky fourth of that A string with pointer finger first of B string, right? So you get... Then remove your pointer finger and play A and B again. And then you go to this one here, pointer finger second of G, you play D and G together. And then middle finger plays third of D, hammer on, and then second position of G. Right, so like this. Then you get a repeat mostly, but there are some variations in there. So you get, again, this. But now you move your pointer finger back to first position of that B string. Ring finger goes to third of A, and you play again A, G, and B. And then together, a pull off with your pointer finger and a slide with your ring finger to fourth. So pointer finger makes a pull off, ring finger slides to fourth. So like this. Then at your pinky and fourth of D, play A and D together. And then back to your pointer finger, second of G, playing that D5 chord, play the bass note, and then middle finger third of that D string, hammer on fourth, and then pointer finger second of G, like this. So those two bars together. All right, so now for the next bar, you play the following thing. So what do you do? So first of all, you start off with, again, pointer finger, first position of B, but you're playing it on the fore end of the previous bar. So like this, right? And then that bass note, that A bass note, lands on the first beat of the next bar. Then on the second beat, you put your pointer finger in second position of that B string and play that together with the A string. So like this. Then middle finger goes to third of A and you play that plus B and E together, right? Ring finger goes to fourth. And then you play open D, open B, and pointer finger second of E. Then you play those strings all open. Then pointer finger first of B, middle finger second of D. Right, play them together, and then you play, remove your pointer finger and you play D, G, and B. Right, so like this, 3, 4. All right, and then you get. So for that, you have your middle finger in second of G, your thumb frets first position of your E string, so you play E, open D, and G, but you start with just the bass note, so then you play E, D, and B, or E, D, and G, sorry. Then ring finger goes to the third of that E string, and you play E, and then D and G, and E again, so like this. And then you play A chord. So you got. Now what's good to know is that when you play this part, it might be that the pointer finger should actually be on second position of the D string. I had intended to check that before this video, but I forgot. Anyways, so you got. And then you get open E to third position to fourth, right? So those 4 bars together, 3, 4. All right, so now for the next set of 4 bars, so the second half of the verse, I'll play it for you, and then we'll get into how to play it on the guitar, as we always do. 3, 4. What do you do? So basically a lot of it is the same. There's just variations here. So you start off again, pointer finger from first to second with that bass note, right? So, and then you play pinky fourth of that A string with pointer finger first of B, and you play this, right? So you play A, B, A, and then remove your pointer finger and you play A and B together. And then your pointer finger goes to second of G, play D and G together. And then middle finger goes to third of your D string. Make that hammer on fourth, and then second position G again, right? So you got. right, then the second bar is exactly the same as the second bar of the first set of 4 bars. So this part, right? So we covered that. The only difference is that pointer finger in first is played on the 4 and the previous bar. So you get this. Right? That's the only difference, right? So that second bar is the same with the exception of having this on the 4 end of the previous bar. And then you get this part. So that's also pretty much the same. So this we already covered. This too. And then you have your ring finger in fourth of the A string. You play that plus that second of B together. Then D, B, and E open. And you make a hammer-on with your pointer finger in second of that E string. Then you play all those strings open again. And then you get this part, which is the same. Right, so you get... And then you get this part, and I thought, so the next part is, sorry. So the next part is quite tricky, and I'm not really 100% sure if I'm doing it right. But I think I'm close to it. So you get, so basically I'm playing this chord again, so middle finger in second of G, thumb fretting first of E, and then having open D. So, and then ring finger goes to third position of your low E string, and then I'm sort of strumming 2 strings with my middle finger, so B and G, then G and D with my pointer finger, finishing off with my bass note here again. So. Right? Going to the A chord, and I think actually even A sus2, right? So I got, and once you play that chord, it's chord, bass note, chord, bass note, and then it goes almost to a sort of AC/DC like D5 chord with open A, open D, second position G, and third position of your B string, right? So you got, right? And that brings us to the chorus. Now, the chorus starts with that D5 on the 4 end of the previous bar, so at the end of the verse. So, what do? You have that D5 chord, so on the first beat, you play the bass note. Then you play D, G, and B. And then what you start to do is you have that descending bass line going from third of A to second of A to open A, right? So, and with all of these, you play that G and B with it, right? So you get, when you have that open A, you just play that once with your ring finger and middle finger still on that third position of B and second of G. But then the second time you play that open bass note, you move to your pointer finger first of the B string and open G. All right, so you got. Then you go to a G5, so that's pinky in third of B, open G, and ring finger in third of your E string, low E. Then you play E, G, thumb, pointer finger. Then you play open A twice, then first position A twice, and then B, so second position of that A string once. And then you go to a C chord and you play A, G, and B string from that chord, right? So you get, Then in the next bar, you play that bass note of the C chord. You play the chord again, so A, G, and B. Then Then you move your middle finger to the second position of that A string and you play it again. Then you move your middle finger to the second position of G. You play open A, G and B twice. Then you keep those fingers there at your ring finger in third of that low E string. And you play E, G and B. Make a hammer with your pinky in third of B. Then play E and open E. Right? And then you play B string without the pinky, but still your pointer finger. Right? So you get... right? Then in the next bar, you get again that open A, second position twice, and then you get the C chord, and you sort of do like a flamenco rasgado, right? Just flicking your pinky, then ring finger, then middle finger, and then pointer finger. So, right? In one go. Then you play the bass note. Then you move this up to A over C sharp. Right, so that is pointer finger, just your A chord, but you add your ring finger in fourth of your A string. You do the same thing. Okay, so I get. Then you get the next 4 bars, and there you play the following thing. All right, so what do you play? So you start off with that D5 chord. Then you play sort of alternating between your thumb and your pointer finger and your middle finger. So you play the bass note on D and then G and B, right? So then middle finger goes to third of A, and then that is going to be your bass note. So you play thumb, fingers. Then you're going to switch to this chord here, so you move your pointer finger to second position of your A string. Middle finger is now in second of G. And then you do the same thing. So you play thumb, fingers, thumb, right? So you got... And then you play open A with ring finger and middle finger still in the same position on B and G, right? Pointer finger, first position of that B string, and then go into that G5. Then that upgoing bass note, and then you get this chord here. So this is a C major 7 with G in the bass. All right, so that's middle finger in second of D, ring pinky sturdy in third of A, and ring finger in third of E. Then you play D half diminished, right? So that's pinky in third of B, middle finger in second of G, ring finger in third of D, and pointer finger in second of A. And then you make play open B, and then you get this little lick. And basically what you're playing descending there is the... is E Phrygian dominant, or it's A harmonic minor. So that is pointer finger, first position of E, pull off to open, then ring finger, 3 on B, pull off to 1, pointer finger, pull off to open, right? So then on the G string, you get second position of G, pull off to 1, right? So you got then ring finger, 3 of D, pull off to second, pull off to open, and then ring finger third of A, pull off to second, right, with your middle finger, and then you play open E, hammer on third, hammer on fourth, right? So okay, so that chorus, here we go, 3, 4. and then you get that section again. So there is a lot of noise right now. Kids are starting to have their lunch break, and there is someone doing repairs somewhere down the hall, and I think it's better for my mental health to just sort of stop right now and finish everything else next week and pick a quiet moment to do it. I hope this was helpful. Again, if you like these kinds of tutorials, make sure to hit the subscribe button and to click the little bell notification icon. If you need the tablature, is on my Patreon page. Wishing you all a great weekend and or week, and hope to see you again sometime. Bye.